didn't see it there. Don't worry about me. I'm just cooking up another daily quarantine devotion from Galatians. Why don't you go ahead and read our verses today in chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, and compare them with the introductions in other Pauline epistles, like the letter to the Romans, the first letter to the Corinthians, Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, and we'll jump into it when you're done.
Do it.
All right, thanks for reading that. So you might have noticed that things were a little bit different in verse 1. Paul jumps straight in to saying that he's not an apostle because men says, but because Jesus Christ and the God the Father that raised him from the dead appointed him as an apostle. So let's think about it. Why would he say that? Well, if you think back to the context that Paul is writing to, the churches in Galatia were filled with false teachers, teaching that Paul, and more importantly, Paul's message that we're saved by grace through faith alone, were completely wrong. And so in order to discredit Paul, they were saying, Paul, who is this guy? He's just a regular dude. And Paul comes out swinging, right? He comes out and says, I'm not just an apostle because men or through men, but God the Father and Jesus Christ appointed me as an apostle. And more importantly, they gave us this message, that we're saved by faith alone, not through our works. And that's great news, because if we were saved by our works, then we could become unsaved by our works. But because we're saved by grace through faith, and we could never do anything to earn our salvation, we can never do anything to lose our salvation. So what's that teach us? Well, it's a lot of times we think that, when we see error, the best way to love people is to just let it slide. And sometimes that's true. But other times, when the very core of the gospel is at stake, we have to be like Paul and we have to speak up and we have to say something. So when a core belief of Christianity is being taught incorrectly, maybe that the Bible has errors, or maybe that Jesus wasn't fully God or fully man, that means that we need to correct that error in love. And we can't let that be taught. So, when you pray today, why don't you pray for boldness to correct error? And that doesn't mean to be a jerk about it, but if somebody's attacking the core tenets of Christianity, we need to speak up, just like Paul did. So that's our prayer from today. We can also, from this, trust the scriptures, because we know Paul didn't just have a good idea one day and decide to write a couple letters. Paul was instructed by God and wrote through the Holy Spirit. So we're able to trust what Paul wrote. So today our prayer prompt, if you're not on Instagram, is going to be to pray for the people that sit normally in the row in front of you at church. We also have a poll and then a question. So the poll is this: is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes or no? And then finally, our question for the day is, what is your favorite game that we play on Wednesday night? So that can be, we've done Pyramid, we've done some word games, we've played some games in the gym, Gaga Soccer, that's probably going to be the answer. But let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and pray. We miss you guys, and Sarah has the devotion for tomorrow. Also, Miss Angie, if you're watching, I made sure to clean the stuff that I touched in the kitchen, so no coronavirus here.